2018 Aston Martin DB11 car review. The DB11 V8 may be the first implementation of Aston Martin's agreement with Daimler make use of the German's twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8, the identical engine that powers high-performance models from the Mercedes-AMG and Mercedes-Benz families. While the engine will go into the upcoming replacement the British brand's smaller Vantage, it can make its Aston debut within the DB11. With 503 horsepower, its output will be the same as in Mercedes-AMG's C63S, against 600 ponies for your DB11's V12. Both DB11 engines have near identical torque outputs, however, while using 4.0 liters 498 lb-ft representing a lowering of just 18 lb-ft compared together with the V12. The factory-stated 0 to 62 mph time to the V8 of 4.0 seconds is only 0.1 second behind that relating to the V12. The DB11 hit 60 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds within our recent test in the V12 model. Claimed top speed suffers more, falling by 13 miles per hour to 187 miles per hour, although we didn't have a chance to verify this deficit during our drive in Spain. A key benefit on the new engine is the fact it's both smaller and lighter as opposed to 12. The V8 car weighs 254 pounds under its brawnier sibling, says Aston, with a lot of that weight coming over front axle. The good news is the fact, and soon you start the V8, nobody need realize that you have stinted within the cylinder count. Only the sharpest eyes is able to spot the differences that distinguish the V8, dark headlamp bezels, new wheel finishes, and a couple of air vents about the long hood instead with the V12's 4. In every other regard it appears identical, with precisely the same muscular design, stunning profile, and immaculately tailored cabin, the last making the most of a Mercedes-based infotainment system. As using the V12 DB11, we need to mourn the passing of Aston's traditional handbrake, a fly-off lever positioned between driver's seat and door. Now there's only a boringly conventional, switch-controlled electric parking brake. And although gadget-loving MI6 operatives might appreciate the motorized cubby that sits between your front seats, which may seem like a pretty good size to get a Walther PPK, waiting for doing this to power open or closed is much less convenient compared to a manual slider will be. The sound as well as the fury. Any doubts about which power plant your Aston has shipped with are dispelled the second the V8 fires our health. It sounds magnificent, louder and roarier compared to the V12 at startup, awakening having a brap rather as opposed to bigger engine's creamier tone. From then onward it really gets angrier, snarling under gentle use and, when pushed further, emitting a hard edge tone that sounds of the same quality from the driver's seat the way it does from the outside the cabin. Performance provides little to your V12, indeed. The V8 feels keener at real-world speeds. The AMG engine delivers its peak torque fractionally higher up the rev range compared to V12 does, but celebrate a more dramatic entrance, arriving using a forceful shove the location where the bigger engine takes longer to make boost. The V8 DB11 seems quicker to react, and throttle solution is outstanding. In AMG models, the V8 works together either a 7 or 9-speed version of Mercedes' electronic gearbox, involving a multiplate clutch instead of a torque converter. But Aston has paired it with exactly the same ZF 8-speed automatic as being the V12, that has a more conventional design including a torque converter. Fears until this transmission would neglect to play nice while using highly strung engine soon become misplaced. The one most impressive aspect from the powertrain is the place-integrated both feel. We noticed some slight throttle surging at really low speeds. The DB11 should be maneuvered carefully when parking, but from walking pace and beyond, The transmission delivers impressive smoothness when left in drive, and responses to manual inputs are quick enough to rival a dual-clutch gearbox. The engine's punchy torque delivery also kept the soundness control busy about the twisting and wet roads within the Spanish Pyrenees. About the day individuals drive, the rain in Spain fell mainly within the mountains. But the conditions also showed the essential balance on the chassis for being near perfect, with back and front grip levels that permit the big coupe to feel agile without becoming scary. The stability control is usually fully defeated, albeit with a convoluted process by having a sub-menu selected while using steering wheel control switches. However, it feels plenty exciting even with all the guardians present, especially in its most aggressive Sport Plus mode. The decrease in mass within the front axle could be felt. It's quite a bit less if the V12 DB11 appears like a late 1970s Cadillac Fleetwood, though the V8 car is markedly fleeter of foot. While steering inputs yield strong and positive responses, and then there are just 2.4 turns lock-to-lock, the leader itself feels a touch too big for hustling. The V8 DB11 may very well be primarily meant to go touring grandly. However, it can pass muster as being a sports car. There is some heave on rougher roads together with the variable dampers of their soft GT setting, but switching these phones sport delivers discipline with no significant rise in harshness. There are complaints, however they are few. Although refinement is usually impressive, we experienced a similar wind noise in the top of its doors at cruising speed that we've previously noticed inside the V12 DB11, something which should have been fixed vehicle heading into its second year of production. While the cabin is a large improvement over older Astons, some on the switchgear still feels a bit plasticky, the best example being the toggle switches around the steering wheel that find the powertrain and chassis modes. Small savings. Given the price tag on a DB11, the $17,500 savings that comes from choosing smaller engine isn't a very tall heap of beans. 10 seconds together with the options list could overwipe it. But you can find reasons besides cost to settle on it, and besides the marginal fuel savings. The V8 model may have less power as well as a lower top speed. However, it offers no less than as much character because V12 while sharpening the rest in the driving experience. Overall, the choice between your two is actually perfectly balanced.